explicitly scriptural. However, at the same time, I'm with you. I don't think there's a way you can go to a gay wedding and not be in approval of it in some way, shape, or form. And I'm home, so you can breathe a sigh of relief now. I'm done driving.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I wasn't really, too concerned.
Of course you're not. Hey, guess what? 2 years ago today, I bought this awesome little red Mini Cooper.
And it's still in one piece, huh? That's great. Okay,
wow.
Well.
You know what? I'm going to go. I'm going to hang up on you, my friend.
Okay. Actually, I just hung up on him. All right. Before he could hang up on me. Let's talk to Aaron. Hi, Aaron.
Hey, Dr. White.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Good.
Good. Hey, actually, I'm a regular follower of your show on, whatever day you have it on.
It depends on when I feel like having it.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. Hey, I've been a Calvinist for quite some time, and I actually had a question about the Ordo Salutis. It's kind of, I've had some issues coming up. I was thinking about some of the Old Testament passages, foreshadowing kind of the new birth. So, like looking at, for instance, Jeremiah 33, where God will write His law on our hearts, and that we would be caused to know Him. Or Ezekiel 36, He will take out the heart of stone, give us a heart of flesh, that we would obey Him. And scriptures like that. I think I can also include Deuteronomy 30 in there as well, where He will circumcise our hearts that we would love Him. But those are all future tense, and they seem to be talking about the new birth in the New Testament. Correct?
Well, yeah, but I mean, some of those are talking about the specific new covenant fulfillment, but there clearly was the experience of that kind of work of grace amongst people in the Old Testament as well. So, I mean,
okay.
David, I'm sure, was, there's only been one way of salvation throughout, in the covenant of grace. It's always been God's grace. It's always been faith in God. There have been different administrations in the sense of how one lived one's life in light of one's profession of faith, but the covenant of grace would indicate that there's, as Paul says in Romans chapter 4, how was Abraham justified before God? Well, in the same way that we are. Now, did he have the same explicit level of knowledge and understanding of the person of Jesus Christ and things like that? I don't believe that he did, but still, as Paul says, the gospel was preached to him. The question is going to be the breadth and length of the amount of gospel knowledge that is included in that.
Exactly, yeah. So I think you can probably figure out where I'm going with this, with the Ordo Salutis, where you have regeneration opening up people's eyes, giving them the heart of stone, or giving them the heart of flesh, and just giving them new birth. And from that, being able to have faith in God. And so I have my own way of answering this, at least I think I do. But that from those passages, it just seems like it's a New Testament reality. And I just wanted to see what you thought about, like Abraham, for instance. Like, what caused like his faith, for instance? Like, how would you go about answering that?
I don't, like I said, I don't think there's any difference between the covenant of grace is the covenant of grace. The state of man is the same in Old and New Testament. Men in the Old Testament were spiritually dead, required the Spirit of God to open their hearts and their minds. I'm always concerned when I hear some of my synergist friends basically saying that in reality, in the Old Testament, you had truly righteous men, and they were righteous apart from grace.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's a fundamental undoing of Paul's own theology at that particular point. So,
True.
I don't think the Ordo Salutis has changed. I just think it's become much more explicit in the New Testament. Just like I think there's always been the existence of the dead after the life in this world, but it's seen much more clearly in the New Testament than it is in the Old.
So would you say the experience of essentially God encountering somebody to awaken them to faith, maybe even more intense or more, much more of a deeper reality for those who are in the new covenant?
Well, regeneration's regeneration, and I think in the new covenant you have that writing of the law upon the heart, but that's happened with everyone who has ever been saved. That's why I think there's this kerfuffle among some people who there are people who would say that Abraham was in the new covenant. And I think what some of that comes from, I think part of it's an overreaction to Presbyterianism personally, but I think part of where I think part of where that's coming from is a recognition of the reality of the fact that if you've been regenerated, whether it's David who's regenerated or Isaiah who's regenerated or whatever, it's always God's word, God's spirit, faith in God, faith in the promises of God. It always has the same nature, and
God's initiative.
So what makes the new covenant superior to the old is not the issue of regeneration. It's the extent of that work of regeneration amongst the people who are called the people of God, rather than having the situation that you had in Old Testament Israel, where you have a remnant who is being saved out of the people who are called the people of God. In the new covenant, you have no one saying to his neighbor, "Know the Lord, for they shall all know me." So there's, as I understand it, that's the difference between those. Okay.
Hey, I also have another question. I was in Channel the other day. Are you Dr. Oakley on there as well, or is that a troll?
That is a state secret, and that's one that the theory is that is one of the classified documents that was on Hillary Clinton's server, and
I gotcha.
And that's one of the reasons that it had to be wiped with a cloth.
Don't send it through email. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So when you come into Channel, that's just one of the things you have to learn over time, experience, and suffering.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That's how you earn. I was
actually the one who posted.
Yeah, it's not. It's interestingly enough, even though we're Reformed, Channel participation is not of grace. It's a very.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I was actually the one who posted the thing about John Walton.